Alright, hello again, this is Philip at thebest3d.com, and I wanted to welcome you to this first session of video training ever since we have released version 10 just a day or two ago. So what I'd like to do is kind of give it a fresh start and give you a walk through some of the new features on the interface, or rather also some of the customizable features. There have always been features that you can customize in the interface, but there may be some slight difference and a different look, or you may be just new to Dog Waffle, and I want to give you a sense of where some of these features are. And now I have intentionally switched back to a more traditional initial layout, and I wanted to show you you have the toolbar on the side here on the left, but I also have the sidebar on the left, and that can be arranged, and I usually prefer to have my sidebar on the right side, so I want to show you where to go to do that. In the view menu, this used to be known as the window menu. We're going to call that the view menu now, and there's also this, well, let's do this first, right? The sidebar. So that's the layout. Under the layout, you can set the sidebar to the left, which is where it is right now. I'm going to switch it to the right, and so there it is. Now I also don't like the bright colors. I like it a bit more on the dark colors. So I'm going to go layout again and set the interface style to something light on dark, cool. There's a couple lighter on dark. Let's try that one. Okay, it takes a little while. Might need to restart the program. Full changes will take effect when the program is restarted. But I think it's good enough for now. And I like this style. I'm going to work with that. The toolbar on the left, by the way, if you are on a high resolution screen, you probably will want to keep it like this as a single column. But if you are on a very small, let's say a laptop with a very small screen resolution, maybe just 800 or 1024 pixels vertical, maybe you don't have enough room for the entire toolbar, so you can make it a two-column toolbar just like that. Okay, so I'm going to go, and in fact it may start that way just to be able to work on low-end configurations. Because this does work really well on entry-level tablets and PCs that run Windows, laptops, even netbooks and that sort of things. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the layout with a single column toolbar. Note that you can also make that a floating toolbar if you don't want to have it stuck on the left side. There are a couple of other things also. If you are not fond of this bar at the very top, the window, not the menu bar, just above the menu bar, this window bar, you can hide that as well and basically make it the compact full screen mode. And so in this case, we have some of the status notification information that would have appeared. Let's go back here. Would have appeared in here. Let's say if you have caps lock, if you press caps lock, you might see that right here, caps lock warning. Or if you switch to the alternate, if you hit J for jump to the alternate image buffer, right? Something like this here, jump to the swap image. That information might be here. You see swap. Well, instead of being here in the top bar, if you switch to the compact full screen mode, you'll see it next to the menu bar. Right? You'll see the swap, you'll see the caps lock warning. So I'm going to swap back, and in fact I'm going to show you where else to do that. We have a couple of shortcuts here, and we've had this one in particular for the last at least one major release since version 9.0, I would think. There is this S as in swap image, right? So that's the toggle you can see right here. We're now looking at the main image. And we do have also caps lock warning still on. I'm going to toggle that off. I cannot click on that. I have to hit it on a keyboard. Caps lock off. And that's important for keyboard shortcuts, right? Some keyboard shortcuts are either lowercase or uppercase. And one of those that is uppercase is to kill the current image. Shift K. So if I have anything here and it's garbage and I want to kill it, one quick way to do that is Shift K, and I will erase it to the primary color. Excuse me, to the secondary color. We have two colors showing here on the right side. Also on the toolbar in the lower left, the primary is currently black, the secondary color is white. And you can right click on that if you want to change to a different color. Let's say you want to go to white, to sort of a pinkish color, and you can actually, I selected that for the primary. If I want to toggle that, I can switch to that, and then if I want to erase, but I want to erase it all, I want to Shift K, that erases it to the secondary color. Okay, let's go back to what we had initially. I'm going to make the primary color dark again. And let's continue. Let's go clear here. That's another way to clear it, of course. Let's go continue with the view menu and a few more things about the layout. So we have the sidebar on the left, excuse me, on the right now. We have the toolbar as a single column, and it is on the left. We could make it a floating toolbar. And then we have some more interface styles. These are mostly color schemes and whether you want to see outlines on those individual icons and that sort of things. Whether you want to in fact show the sidebar is another option. You can also hide it, right? So you have an option to not see it at all. And that again is something you'll do if you're either an expert user and you don't need it for a while, or you simply don't have enough screen real estate. You're on a very low resolution screen. Now, talking about the resolution, we also have this image that comes up as a default. And I want to show you where you can go and customize some of the default settings. That's really the focus of this particular training. I want to show you some of the main customization features. So go into the view menu and select settings. That's where you'll see much of the customization we're interested in making. So for instance, initially we are on startup. What are the startup settings? So the default setting I have right now is 1024 by 768. I'm going to go use this, but I'm going to go also check something on the file menu. If I create a new model, a new image, I see the default here. And let's say I want to something like 1280 by 1024. Right, a little bit wider and a little bit taller. I don't have that setting here yet. Oh, I have 1280 by 768. That's close, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. I may want a little bit higher in the vertical as well. Now, I don't know if that's going to be fitting. Maybe I'll have to be content with just 1280 by 80 by one of those, right? But I want to show you how you can put in your own, make it available, visible here as well. And most importantly, make it the default just upon startup. So on the settings, if you want something like 1280, go put that in on the width. And for the vertical, let's say we want 900. I don't know if that preset already existed, but let's put that in. Or you could have changed the size and then just use that current size, and it will make that the default as well. Now there's another default, which is the brush that we use. So right now, I'm going to go and create or resample the image, right? And say I have 1280 by 960 here right now. I didn't actually make an additional entry for 900. I just had it become the default at 900, but it still has the current setting here. So that's upon launching the program that it will take it. The thing is, I have the constraint also. So if I make it 1, but the other one changes the aspect ratio, I have to make sure I uncheck the constraint here. All right, so this is the dimension, and it's actually too big, I think. Yeah, it's hitting the top. So because my screen resolution is in fact 900 pixels, and I have a few more taken for the interface here at the top. So I really will want to to do something about that, and perhaps take a slightly different resolution. Let's go 1280 by what shall we take there? 800. There you go. Let's try that. All right, so that will be a good compromise, and I'll go to settings and freeze that right in here and say 800. Okay. Now I want to also look at the medium, the default brush or the media. You have a browser here for a variety of different presets, and that's also something that's a little bit new now. I mean, you have the graphical view of that, but you'll see graphical previews in some of the floating areas here. For instance, for particle presets, when you load an existing particle brush setting, you can see a preview there. and then paint with that. So let's say we wanted to actually pick one of those as our default brush. Right, so let's say I don't know if it's an oil. Let's say, for instance, here, in addition to the browse for media, there is also a right click on the brush tool itself, and you do have some presets here as well. And let's say, for instance, we wanted the oils such as Totally Oil, right? That does some funky smearing and keeps on smearing. And if we like this particular style for the brush, we'll make that our default. So right here under View Settings, for the startup settings, we can go to Default Media and select the default brush. So it takes you into the folder where Dog Waffle is installed. I have it named a little bit different from the default, from where it goes by default. I think by default it'll just be Howler, but I have so many different versions installed, I keep them different names. And what I'll do is I'll go into the organic effects or oils. There's some smearing effects also. I'm going to go to oils and find myself the Totally Oil. There it is. Right. So now, or thick oils or stucco, or I mean, there's so many different brushes there in this category alone. Let's say, for instance, I want the thick oils. Right. So when I select this, that will be the brush that gets chosen by default. There's also a color swatch here on the right side. You see a variety of different color pickers and additional new color pickers, some of them floating color pickers, and you can make a color swatch selected as well. So there's a variety of additional choices that you'll see here, and like maybe desert landscapes, and that way you'll have colors that are a bit more for painting deserts and that sort of things. That will be perhaps something that you'll see with additional choices here. Color swatch, there it is. Right, so this is the color swatch. It's a set of colors that right now it's on the default well, but when I start the program, I told it I want to use the desert colors. Let's see, what else do we have? So that's the general setup. There's some GUI options, and I would encourage you to read on those. There's a tooltip, usually a quick user guide. This is really just a tooltip to give you a rough idea of what it's for. Whether you want to see the scroll bars, use middle button for panning, spline-based input. So as you're drawing, do you want it to be a little bit more soft interpolated? Now, if it's so messy at the brush, it may not look very different. But when you do some fine line drawing, line art, it may certainly help if you draw very quickly. There's some choices to display the custom brush as a bounding box rather than as the image itself. Inverting the selection highlight for color. That's when you're doing the selection here, and you can show overlay for the currently selected area. All right, so for instance, right now I have it enabled and everything is visible. There's no pink for showing the invisible part. But if I do use the lasso and select a portion here, then just that part will be showing still at its original color. The rest here is highlighted with a pink color. And if I want to, I can have it inverted. Right? So that's what you see right here, is that pink is actually showing now the part that is selected. By default, the selected part is not changing, is not affected in coloring, and the parts that are not selected are the ones that turn pink. All right, so that's the thing about that. And there are a few other things that you'll want to explore here. Free transform selections. That's whether you want to do a free transform on the selection. When you, I don't know, I have to read up on that exactly what the conditions are. Smooth scaling. That's when you zoom in. Do you want to smooth it and blend it a little bit to make it look a little bit, more soft, rather than a very crisp, harsh replication of the pixels. And then there's some other options for numeric entry with commas. In some countries you use commas as a decimal separator. That's particularly useful if you have files read in. There's also some threading and GPU performance related parameters, memory settings. That's really important. Where is the temp folder? Right? We have a temp folder that may be inherited from a different installation you had in the past, and the registry gave it away and say this is where it is. You may want to reset that or browse to the new one, or reset it. There are some options. In fact, on the startup down here anywhere, no matter where you are, you have a delete register keys that also helps you reset and regain things if things got out of control because you had too many different installations, old versions, demo trial versions, free giveaways, and so on, beta versions. You might have a bit of a conflict, or things got partly uninstalled but not everything, so it's good to reset things at times. We do have some information on that on our website too, in the FAQ, the frequently asked questions, or not so frequently asked question. Maybe we should call that the NFAQ. We have also other options here for saving, and so that's something new in version 10. There's some auto saving, automatic saving, quality. We had that before for the JPEG quality. We have, okay, so here's the presets for the sizes. And that's where I wanted to also go, and that's, you know, to introduce a new parameter. Like right now we have 1280 by 80 as one of the sizes available for selection when you create a new image, or if you resample an existing image. But we don't have, so we have 1280 by 800, we have 1280 by 960, but we don't have 1280 by 900. And I'd like that not only to become the default, I already took care of that here under the startup, make sure that it is not 900 but 8. Let's say we make it 860 or 840. There, let's make it the default 840. I don't know, maybe that's too big. I don't want it to crop at the top or cut into it, so let's make it 1280 by 820. Why not? And so that's the dimensions I also want to see as presets here. And so what I'll simply do is I'll take this one as a template, so to speak. I copy that, and then I hit enter and put a new value in there, paste it, right? So I have a duplicate copy here now. That was done with Control V, and now I can put the new number. What was it? 820. And so now I have a new entry. I need to make sure that's really the value where it needs to be. This one here, the string in the double quotes, that's just showing sort of information that I want to see in the menu, but these numbers here are the ones that are actually used. So 820, if I want that to be 820, that's the one I need to change. 1280 by 820 is now available as is. All right, and then there's also some benchmarking options. Let's use this. Actually, let's also save that. Let's make sure we do that. So let's go back to View, Settings, and make sure we still have it in there. Yep, 1280 by, save that. And so now if we start the program again, I'm going to go and close it. and then start the program again. All right, so I have a shortcut here to launch it again. I'm going to double click it and launch the program right here. And so now we see that it has the layouts that I prefer, with the coloring, also with the layout, the sidebar on the right side. The dimension of the default image is now bigger. It's the 1280 by 820. We can see that if you go into info under the image. You can see the dimensions, 1280 by 820. And the default brush is also another one. That's the one that we have chosen. It wasn't the totally oil, if you recall. We chose something like heavy oil or something like that. So anyway, that's the quick intro on setting up your preferences and exploring more. I mean, we didn't cover everything there is, but I wanted to show you at least where you can read up on it, and where you can set up the compact full screen mode, affect your layout with the particulars of where things are, and then also looking in settings for extra guidance on default media to have, and some other parameters that might be very useful for you. All right, well, anyway, thanks for watching. This is, again, the newest version 10 of PD Howler, powered by Project Dog Waffle. Right here under the help menu, if you click About Howler, you'll see the version information, some additional credits as well. And most importantly, this is version 10, and we nickname it Forward Undo 10. It is generation 5, but you see here 10.0, that is the giveaway of what version it actually is. Right, thank you very much. Have fun howling and waffling, and we'll talk to you soon.